All right, folks, and plenty to talk about with the first panel of the day. John Zogby is with us, pollster, of course, Zogby Polls, and CEO of Zogby Analytics. And we're joined by Mark Meckler, president of Citizens for Self-Governance and also co-founder of the Tea Party Patriots. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you. John, let me ask you, I know it's been your profession for decades. Have you ever seen a debate quite like that? Number of people on stage, types of questions from what was supposed to be a friendly moderators, the Trump in the middle of it. I mean, how unique was this?
Never, never, never to all three of your questions, particularly the moderators' questions that were asked, which were a learning experience, I think, for everybody who watched, but also, precluded a lot of the canned responses that you normally get. Those 30-second and 1-minute responses, because these guys had to be on their toes.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about it, Mark? I mean, what were your overall impressions sitting at home and watching this?
It was spectacle. It was entertaining. It's hard to get that many people on a stage giving short answers and to be entertaining and interesting and informative all at once. I think it was very unique and very productive.
Did it bother you, Mark, that's many of the questions, I mean, not only to Donald Trump, but especially to Donald Trump, but I mean, most of the questions, and this was true in the preliminary debate as well, where it was, you did this, you said that, you did this, what the hell are you doing here? Convince us otherwise. I mean, did that bother you at all?
It did initially. The question seemed a little bit hostile. I was surprised by that. But in retrospect, I like it, because what they did is they put the candidates on the defensive. They made them defend their positions. That's what's going to happen in a general election. And so getting that up out front, letting us as the consumers of these candidates see how they're going to handle the difficult stuff, as opposed to just letting them spit out their sound bites, I think it was highly productive, and in hindsight, I really like it.
Now, John, I know you didn't do a poll on this, and you may not, and because it's not that's not what you, well, you poll everything. But I spent 3 hours today filling in for Chris Plant on his radio show on WMAL and across the country, and I got to tell you, 95% of the calls were furious at Megyn Kelly and Fox, and Dick Morris was on with us in the previous segment, of course, and he said this has been a trend of Fox News to become more and more, to bend over backwards to show that they're not a tool of the conservatives and the Republican Party. What do you think, if you did do a poll, especially among Republicans who saw it, what do you think the results would be?
No huge changes. I mean, Donald Trump went in leading big. I think he continues to lean big. I think he may have hurt himself over a longer term. I mean, he still has to show that he can expand a base, not and run in a general election, and not just appeal to a narrow, angry segment of voters. I think probably you'll see a bump for some of the candidates. I think particularly John Kasich, who I thought did quite well and asserted himself really above his group of people.
But John, I'm sorry, not to interrupt, but what do you think the polling would be to Republican voters, likely Republican voters, or just registered Republicans, who you say, what did you think of the moderators, who, by the way, I don't have the statistic, I had it before to Dick in the beginning, I think 31 or 37% of the time was taken up with the moderators.
It was, yeah. It was 31% of the time, but there were also 24 million voters, so viewers. So Fox obviously did something right. I think probably the likely Republican voters would be alienated by the questions that were asked, but I think we were all informed by it.
All right, and Mark, what's been the response for the people that you've talked to within the Tea Party and within as citizens for self-governance? What's the response been, again, to the tone of the debate and to the way that the candidates were treated by Fox?
I would say, generally speaking, people didn't like it, and like I said, I've been pushing back against that, because in hindsight, I thought it worked really well. But as far as the candidates themselves, I think the man with the most to lose was Donald Trump, and I think he lost the most. He did not comport himself well. He did not prove to be statesmanlike. I think he had a real opportunity to expand the base. to show that he had some knowledge and some statesmanship. And
How did you feel about him? How did you feel about him before the debate?
You know, I felt very similar about him before the debate. You know, I felt like he's raising important issues. He's doing it in a way that's resonating with a certain segment of Americans. But I felt like he had an opportunity and an obligation to reach out to a broader part of the base and to do it in a statesmanlike way. And I think he failed the test miserably.
John, we got about 30 seconds. Tell me about, or about a minute, tell me about the latest Joe Biden numbers.
Democrats clearly by 48 to 34% want Joe Biden to run and challenge Hillary Clinton. Very interesting. Also, in head-to-head matchups against some of the key Republicans, not only does Biden do a little bit better, but he does better among Hispanics and African Americans. That's not a good sign for the best-known candidate in the world.
He does better than who? A little bit better and better than Hillary?
A little better than Hillary when she is matched up against.
Wow, very interesting. Give me one or two of the candidates real quick that he does better against.
He does better actually against Jeb Bush.
Really? That's very interesting. All right, John, I thank you, and we thank both of you, and thanks for coming on. Folks, who won the debate? That's the question we want you to answer. Was it Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Ted Cruz? We want your take on Thursday night's debate. All you have to do is log on to newsmaxpolls.com and vote for what GOP candidate won the first 2016 Republican presidential primary debate. That's newsmaxpolls.com. At the end of the show, we'll have some preliminary results. They'll be very early, but we'll bring them to you. Newsmaxpolls.com. Vote now.